Hello and welcome back to the End Time Remnant YouTube channel. I am Dorothy, and this is video number 8, part of our Lessons in the Wilderness series. We're going to be talking about financial provision from the Lord during your wilderness season. Just basically learning to trust Him for all of your needs during this particular time. So I grew up in a relatively middle class suburb of New Jersey. So I don't have a story of, lifelong poverty or living hand to mouth. However, what I can tell you is that due to certain life experiences as a young girl, I made up in my mind that education was necessary for me because I didn't want to be anything like the countless women in my family who seemed to depend greatly on the men in their lives. I saw it as a young girl. I saw a lot of them live to be very disappointed, betrayed, and just caught out there without education, without having what they needed in order to take care of themselves. Just very dependent on the men in their lives, and I just didn't want it. I didn't want anything to do with it. And again, I was very young, making this up in my mind that, yeah, no, that's not going to work for me. So I never believed that there was some prince coming on a white horse to come take care of me and pay my way through life, right? So I always endeavored to just work really hard, go to school, get my education, make my money, do my thing, and ensure that I would be able to take excellent care of myself. And that's exactly what I did. When I first got saved in February of 2016, I was in a corporate management position. I was making an excellent salary. I was an author of multiple books. I had my own life coaching business. I was doing various speaking engagements. I had multiple streams of income, and my money situation was just fine. Was not married. There was no man in my life that was taking care of me, paying my bills, getting my hair done, all these things that, some of these women are constantly depending on men to do for them. That just wasn't me. Um, wasn't my speed, wasn't my style. It still isn't. And I don't know that that will ever change, but I'm just trying to set you up for where my headspace was when the Lord actually called me out of my corporate position. Um, I was not well. When the Holy Spirit began to speak to me about wanting me to resign, I was filled with fear. I did not understand what was going on. My original assumption was, okay, if you're calling me out of my corporate position, then that means you must have another corporate position available for me, like right now. And I'm going to be perfectly fine. Or this business of mine is going to go through the roof, and I'm going to be perfectly fine. Like I did not foresee what was really about to be happening in my life. Um, Literally, after I resigned, that was basically the beginning of the wilderness season for me. Right. So everything began to change regarding my finances. All of the streams of income dried up. The Lord called me out of my corporate position. So obviously, no income there. And the Lord told me to stop the business, to come out of that was something that He had not told me to start, that was all my idea. And that's not where He wanted me at this time. So after all the streams of income dry up, I'm done. I done ran through my 401k. There's no money. There's no income. And during my wilderness season, I had to learn how to depend on the Lord for all of my needs. And I am making this video to let those of you who may be in your wilderness season, who may find yourselves in a wilderness season where your finances are under the gun, I just want you to know that He is indeed Jehovah Jireh. He will provide. During your wilderness season, you may not be eating steak and lobster, but you will eat, right? And it's a time where He's testing you. to see just how much you will trust him to bring you into the land of milk and honey that he has promised to you, right? It's a time where you're not really supposed to be comfortable. It's a time where you're supposed to be stretched, right? You're supposed to not fear, not worry, not be anxious, but you are supposed to lean in and depend on him. And for those of you who were anything like me, who had gotten to a place in your career and in your life where you saw money as your key to being independent and depending on yourself, it may be very difficult for you to part ways with that independence for a season and have to depend on the Lord and through other people, because he's going to use other people to bless you as well. The Lord chose very few people during my wilderness season, and they were very faithful to bless me financially over the years. I have not worked in corporate America for almost 5 years, and I have not missed a beat. When I tell you the Lord has seen to it that I have everything that I need and a lot of what I want, that is the truth. He has provided. And, he's used a chosen few to be a real blessing to my life in ways that I couldn't even begin to explain. And I've learned to swallow my pride and be on the receiving end of financial giving, versus the one actually giving to others. So, when I was at the top of my game financially, I had absolutely no problem being generous, being kind, sharing what I had with other people. Anything, people wanted or needed, I was always trying to do my best to be a blessing to other people. I didn't have a problem with it. I absolutely loved to share my resources with other people. In the wilderness, it was the other way around, right? So I'm not the one sharing or loaning or giving. I'm actually the one with my hand out saying, I'm in need and I need help. Can you give me? And so that was different, right? And in videos past, I've been candid and transparent with you about the spirit of pride that, I really had to fight against. And this was another area that it just began to show up in. I never wanted to be in a position to have to ask anybody for anything. Not a penny with a hole in it. Okay, not a dollar. I was the type to have 2-3 jobs if necessary in order to make sure my money was not funny. I just was never the one to feel comfortable calling people up, asking them for their hard-earned money, and asking them for help financially. I know there are people out there who have no problems being up in other people's pockets, but that was just never my style. And so I struggled greatly with that. But during the wilderness season, I learned that God was my source, right? These jobs and these career opportunities and these businesses, that they were just resources. God is the one true source, and he can use anybody in any situation to bless me and to provide for me if I would just trust in him. A testimony comes to mind as I'm talking right now. There was one day where I'd driven to the Wawa. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Wawa, it's kind of like almost like a 7-Eleven type store. They sell food and drinks and snacks and stuff like that, coffee, also a gas station, one of those type of spots. And so one morning I went to the Wawa in order to grab me a coffee. And as I was walking out, a man said to me, do you have any money for me? Can I have $1? And let it be known, typically I would reach in my pocket and pull out a 5, right? Never had a problem with giving. On that morning, I was so disgusted and annoyed by that man's request for $1 that even though I had $1 in my pocket, I literally said to him, I was like, no, no, I don't have $1. And I got back into my car and I was just so bitter and I just began to cry. And I literally said to the Lord, yeah, no, I don't have $1. Even as I'm thinking of it, it's not funny. Even as I'm thinking of it, like my prayer was so bitter while I was in the car. I'm like, you know what? I should be out there panhandling with him. I'm literally saying this to the Lord. I should be out there panhandling with him. What do I look like giving him $1 for? I don't have a job. You know what I mean? You called me out of my job. Now you got me living with my sister. You got me depending on all these people for my needs. Like I don't have $1 because I just felt when I said no to him, I felt conviction, right? Because I did have $1 to give this man, and I was refusing to do it because I was irritated about my own financial situation. And I was disgusted by the fact that I didn't have everything I wanted, right? I had everything I needed, but I didn't have everything I wanted. And I was just kind of tired of giving. As I shared with you a few minutes ago, prior to my financial situation getting turned upside down, I was absolutely a giver, constantly giving. And even in that, the Lord was sharing with me, it's very easy to give from a place of abundance, right? So I'm not trying to knock them, but you got these celebrities who make $5 billion a year who give $1 million to some charity. Bravo, right? That's so sweet. That's so nice. It's easy to give when you got abundance, right? The real giving pops off when you're giving out of a place of lack, right? All you have is 10, but you're willing to give 5, right? And even that, there's a story about that in the Bible where there's a woman who put her last in the collection plate. And then you have all these, rich Pharisees who are putting tons of money in, but that money's not really impacting them in any way. You know what I mean? They're not giving their last. They're giving whatever they have in their pockets because there's more where that came from. The Lord was helping me to understand you didn't have a problem giving when you had a lot of money because it wasn't sacrificial. You know what I mean? There was much more coming, and you knew it was coming. Now you're in a situation where you don't know from day to day what you're going to have in your bank account, right? Your bank account might have $25 in it. It might have a few $100s in it. It might have $1,000 in it. But you don't know from day to day because you're not in control anymore. And all of that, as I'm praying, as I'm driving away from the Wawa, I'm just crying and wailing. I was upset that day, okay? Because it just dawned on me. I was just like, I don't want to give any of my money away. I'm done giving. And I literally said in that prayer while I was talking to the Lord, I'm tired of giving. I'm tired of giving my money to people. If people were to pay me back all of the things that I've given over the years and all of the things that I've done over the years, I might not need a job, right? I've constantly been giving all my life, and where has it gotten me? Look at me now, right? I don't have anything, and all the people that I've given money to, where are they now? Right? So it was a bitter prayer. That's what I want you to get most from the testimony. It was a really bitter prayer because I felt like God hadn't seen my giving and he hadn't noticed, how much I'd done for other people when I had money. And I just kind of felt like, why are people asking me for stuff now that I don't have anything to give? It was a situation where I was just disgusted that day. And so the very next day, I went to the grocery store. They had a salad bar there. I absolutely loved their salad bar, but I wasn't sure if I had enough money in my bank account in order to make me a container of the salad bar food that I wanted and actually be able to pay for it because that's how minimal my bank account was at that time. I knew it was less than $20, and I just didn't know if I would have enough money to cover the salad bar that I wanted to go get. So I double checked to make sure, what I had in my account. I went in there, I made, my little salad or whatever. And then I came back out to the car and I sat in the car. Just then I looked at my phone and it was a text message from a beautiful new friend. She and I literally met one time. We went away on a trip together, a vacation together to Thailand and Dubai. She was a travel partner turned friend. She was just absolutely beautiful on that trip. And we kept in contact over the years since that trip. And I got a text from her and she said, "Hey, sis." She was like, "How are you doing?" And I told her, "I'm doing well." Um, and she said to me, "Listen, the Lord put you on my heart, and I want to be obedient to him. So my question to you is, do you have any of these apps on your phone where I can send you some money?" And I told her, I said, "The only app I have is Zelle." And she was like, "Bet." She was like, "Well, I'm going to be sending you something shortly." And then we just continued to talk, and I told her, "Thank you." And I shared with her what had happened the day prior and just basically how I cried out to the Lord, feeling like, who's going to give to me? You know what I mean? Like, a homeless man is asking me for $1, but like, I'm in need myself. You know what I mean? I'm constantly in need myself. Like, I was frustrated about my financial situation. And the question of my heart was, Father, like, who's going to give to me? You know what I mean? Like, you're always asking me to give, or I always feel led to give, but who gives to me? Um, and I felt like he sent her to be the answer. Who's going to give to you is who I send to give to you. And the reason why receiving from her is so significant is because she's not one of these best friends that I've had for 20 plus years, right? She's someone that I met a few years ago, and I only literally spent time with her once on that vacation. And yet here she is telling me that she desires to be obedient to the Lord. Here she is constantly encouraging me, constantly texting me, constantly sending me words of encouragement, constantly checking on me. It was God's way of letting me know, listen, when it comes to financial provision, I'm going to provide the way I want to provide, and I'm going to use whoever I want to use. And in your situation, it's not going to be these besties that you've had for forever. It's not going to be them. It's going to be other people. But that's okay, right? That's okay. Receive what I'm giving you. Don't be prideful. Say thank you, and allow me to provide for you. So that day over the text, I was just giving her the testimony. I was telling her about my low bank account. I was telling her that I was absolutely floored that the Lord would put me on her heart like that to give to me financially. But it was just a reminder to me that God was in total control, and that even in the middle of my meltdown, he heard me and he understood what was going on in my heart. And more than anything, I felt like it was a reminder to me, yeah, I have seen everything that you have done for people down there. I have seen every dollar that you have spent celebrating other people. I have seen every dollar that you have spent giving to other people. Your time is coming. So I share all of that to say, if you are in your wilderness season and your finances are topsy-turvy, be encouraged. Okay, there is light at the end of the tunnel. God will provide for you while you are in this specific season. Your land of milk and honey is up next. And most importantly, right, there are lessons to be learned when your finances are touched. And the most important lesson to learn when your finances are touched is that God is your source. He is your provider, not your college degrees, not your corporate job, your big fancy title, right? Not your business, right? Your entrepreneurship, not all of these things that you feel like you've gotten yourself. right? You're not depending on yourself. You're learning to depend on him. Second thing you're learning is how to allow him to use other people to bless you and to not be bitter about the fact that your blessings may actually come from the least likely people, right? The people that you genuinely thought were your aces and would be there for you financially, literally because you've been there for them financially, they may not be the ones to bless you financially. That's not a reason for you to be angry or bitter. It's just for you to open your eyes and understand that God can move pieces around the chessboard however he chooses to. The lesson there is his sovereignty. He doesn't have to use who you think he should use in order to bless you, right? And thirdly, it's recognizing that if the Lord is touching your finances, or should I say for me, during that time of really not having financial abundance, I had to learn how to respect money a little more, right? So while money was rolling in, you could find me at my favorite restaurant, which was the Chart House in Weehawken, New Jersey, on a Tuesday. It didn't have to be anything special going on, right? Spending $55 for dinner on the evening just because. Wasting money, right? When you don't have money to waste, you learn how to respect a dollar. You learn how to clip coupons. You learn how to look for sales. You learn how to make your money stretch. Mhm. I've always been into fashion. I've always, liked to dress nice and, put my little self together. And for the past few years of not having a job, I've had to learn how to find clothes that don't break the bank. I've had to learn how to get into thrifting, right? I've had to learn how to flat out say, no, you can't afford it, right? So you'll be wearing that again, and that again, and that again. I share all that to say there are lessons to be learned in the wilderness regarding your finances. So if you're in the wilderness and it feels like your finances are a hot mess, just know that God is a restorer. Any and everything that you may have lost is on its way back to you. There are lessons that you are supposed to be learning regarding your finances. So the quicker you learn them, the faster you move on to the next level. And the most important thing to remember is that God is a provider. He is not going to just leave you. There is no way for me to know how or even if your finances will be touched during your wilderness season. What I can tell you is that he is a provider. So whatever situation you find yourself in, just know it has already been worked out. Remember that God can do anything and he can use anyone to bless you financially if that be his will. And if you find yourself in a wilderness season where your finances are under attack, just remember that the Lord is teaching you how to trust him alone for everything, right? We live in a society that says, oh, God helps those who help themselves. Let me be the first one to tell you that that is not kingdom and that is not biblical. Okay, the Bible says that unless we become as children again, we cannot inherit the kingdom of God. Children obey and honor their parents, and children depend on their parents. If you are a follower of Christ and you are someone who depends solely on yourself, then you might want to get in your prayer closet and make sure you're on the right road when it comes to the Lord. Children of God depend on him. We depend on him. We depend on him for everything. Another thing, if you're someone who the Lord has specifically spoken to about coming out of a particular job, be encouraged. Be encouraged, right? Your personal relationship with the Lord is what matters most, not what other people have to say and not other people's opinions. A lot of people had a lot to say about my not working for many years. Okay. They didn't believe the Lord called me out of corporate, and they didn't understand why I wouldn't just go back to work. And for quite some time, it was very frustrating for me because I was I wanted so badly for people to understand what the Lord was doing in my life and what the Lord was telling me to do. Um, but then I realized the truth is that these people were either not saved and just didn't understand what it truly means to follow Christ and be obedient to what he's telling you to do, especially the ones that were like, well, why don't you just go back to work? Why don't you just get a job, like, and go back to work? Well, because he hasn't released me to do that. And when you say he hasn't released me to do that, it's like, what do you mean released you to do that? Just do what you want to do. Yeah, those people are not followers of Christ. Those people have not chosen Christ to be their Lord, right? Your Lord is your master. Master is the one who governs you and tells you what to do. So if I haven't been released to go get a job yet, it's because the Lord has not released me to go get a job yet. But if he's not your Lord, you won't understand what I'm saying when I say that, right? So they were either on that end of the spectrum, or they honestly couldn't understand what was going on because it wasn't them who received the instruction, right? So you have people who are saved, who were like, yeah, that don't sound like nothing God would do, right? Because God didn't tell you to leave your job, right? He didn't tell you to leave your job, and that's why it sounds like something he wouldn't do. So I share that with you, those of you who the Lord has given a definitive word to leave your place of business, to come out of whatever position you are in right now. Look, don't even take the time to involve other people in the instruction that the Lord has given unto you. Don't even do it, right? Obey the Lord, and he will lead you. He will not drop you. And that's really all I have for you on this topic. Prayerfully, it was helpful. Prayerfully, there was something in this video that in some way encouraged you. More than anything, just remember, he is the source. He can provide supernatural provision in a minute. The things that it may take you years to toil in order to get, he can give to you in a second. So whatever he's doing in your finances, just yield that over to him. Do not fight him. All right? Do not fight. And just trust him. He's going to get you through. He's going to provide everything that you need. He's going to make sure that you have it one way or another. So that's all I have for you today. And I hope that you're having a blessed day. And I will talk to you next time.